11 policemen stood down from duty. Government question over functions. And PNG partners EU for program.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Seah.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Friday's news. 11 policemen have been suspended from official duties following the recent riots between the PNG Defence Force soldiers and police earlier this week. 6 were captured on video assaulting a PNGDF soldier, while the other 5 were alleged to be involved in the initial incident that assaulted the family of a soldier.
Assistant Commissioner Police NCD and Central Anthony Wagambi Jr. in a statement released on Thursday said the 6 policemen seen assaulting a soldier in a video that has gone viral on social media have all been stood down. The soldier was part of a group of soldiers accused of assaulting police officers, snatching 3 rifles in the process and seizing a police vehicle. The soldier was left behind after his colleagues hastily sped off in a blue Land Cruiser. He was chased by police on foot and apprehended. The 6 policemen have been stood down from active duty since Tuesday morning, pending an investigation. The investigation also involves military police, so to allow transparency. Meanwhile, 5 other policemen were suspended on Thursday over the initial incident that started the whole dilemma. The police were accused of entering a private property and harassing a soldier's family. 3 of them were identified by the family and have been formally arrested and charged with 1 count each of unlawfully entering private premises, unlawful assault and insulting words. The 4th is still recovering from injuries sustained when he and others were attacked by the soldiers in front of Boroko Police Station. He has had his suspension served on him and will be arrested and charged once he recovers. Wagambi said they have acted as fast as they can and in a transparent manner to deal with the initial complaint of the incident. Meanwhile, senior officers from both forces met yesterday for updates and have given assurance to ensure justice is served. Shamin Poreambeb, National EMTV News.
The Boroko District Court has granted bail to Jaime Pang. The Australian is the operations manager for Sanctuary Hotel in Port Moresby. He is released on a 10,000 kina bail. Court noted that everyone has the right to bail and while granting the bail applied strict bail conditions for him to not interfere with state witnesses and to sign his name at the courthouse every Monday. The matter returns to court on December 10th for submissions on his sentence. Pang had pleaded guilty to 11 charges relating to possession of firearms and ammunition without a license. Kirwina Goodenough MP Douglas Tomoriasa says health laws must be amended to address any pandemic situation. Tomoriasa said the COVID pandemic has clearly indicated that the current health system can't handle the pressure on facilities and health workers. He raised this question in Parliament yesterday.
Due to their refusal,
the Kirwina Goodenough MP raised concerns surrounding the current health system of the country. He said more needs to be done to ensure our health system functions and serves a purpose. He directed his questions without notice to the Health Minister.
When can your department, Health Minister, when can your Health Department seriously consider amending the Health Act and regulations to accommodate and address the COVID pandemic, including vaccination, and to clearly spell out our government, the government's policy on the workplace safety in terms of compulsory workplace testing and the no job policy that has already seen our citizens being forced to resign from their jobs due to their refusal to be vaccinated.
With the COVID pandemic into its 2nd year, Papua New Guinea's health system is holding on to address the situation. Despite yearly allocations and funding to the health sector, basic health and specialist care has been a challenge. The Health Minister says changes will be done in the next sitting.
So we're working with the Ministry of Department of Personal Management as well as the Ministry of Labour to tighten up our laws. Most of our laws are outdated. So by the next, we should have some papers out in the next Parliament so that the laws can verify what no jab or no job policy that people have been spreading around will entail.
In other matters, the West New Britain governor questioned the government over the cyber attack at the Finance Department. Governor Muthuwel was concerned if the attack would have impacts to payments or checks raised by the arms of government. He also asked if the government could revert to the old system.
How much through Emi custom lo set him up this IFMS system before time I'll introduce him IFMS. Number one question. Number two, Mr. Deputy Speaker, right now IMI work lo facing this huge challenge na problem lo because lo this malware virus attack lo this system. When I'm something stopping IMI lo go back lo this bigger system which was working perfectly well. Na two IMI got more transparency in accounting package. So time IMI work lo waiting this clearance or approval lo BSP. How IMI by running provincial governments na districts without having enough funds. Natu also, Mr. Deputy Speaker, enough Finance Minister can specifically instruct law not to transfer PSIP funds or not to use PSIP funds for recurrent expenses of all various government departments within the provinces, which disadvantage him law implement him this law one something you may appropriate in Finnish law 2021 budget. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.
The Finance Minister said things are slowly on track to ensure this system is fully functional.
Mr. Speaker, inogad one plus something and Mr. Mimi too, lokamabim nubla system outside lo IFMS. But at the present time, we are looking at how best we can improve the present system, lo upgrading this system, and lo protecting this system. Mr. Speaker, guideline may be very, very clear. Long answer number 3 question belong good governor belong. West New Britain, insofar as PSIP, DSIP is concerned, we will on approved guidelines, but those funds are not for operational expenditures. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Jaglo Power Jr. National EMTV News.
Northern Governor Gary Jufa is concerned about the status of the investigation into the foreign logging workers arrested earlier this year in his province. Yesterday, he raised his series of questions to Immigration Minister to make known the status of the investigation. Governor Jufa said relevant government agencies must work together and ensure tougher penalties are handed down, with foreigners to follow proper channels while working or applying to work in PNG.
This case, all case laws law 48 law illegals all been pining law province law me only dismissed because I'm a clear threat. Evidence is stop also only illegally stop inside law province inside law country. All not been got work permit, all not been got work visa. Now how it's law case I'm dismissed. Now to date Minoxi want la report yet. So Minister, enough you talk sabe. One time by you gives la report. Now two, what happened to these people? What happened to the 16 that fled from Oro province? Are they still in Papua New Guinea? Is your department making an effort to track them down and find them and deport them, prosecute them? Have you prosecuted the companies responsible? What do you intend to do about the cases that were dismissed through you, Mr. Deputy Speaker? What do you intend to do? Can you inform us about that? Now, too, finally, good law Minister, you work in plenty good law work, through law Deputy Speaker. You got intention law increasing penalties, laws law migration offences or no God? Because now current penalty and 5,000 kina and little too much, probably the smallest penalty for immigration offences in the entire world.
I will actually give him all the documents that he needs to see to prove for himself what immigration has been doing over that particular case. But we will not stop, Honourable Governor. Through you, the Deputy Speaker, I can give him my assurance that the officers will go there, even though the court has ruled that the court has freed all of those 20 or how many people. But we will, now that you have raised the same question on the floor of Parliament, immigrations will take this as a complaint, and we will once again visit your province to see for ourselves those people as to who is there, who is legally in the province and who is illegally in the province. But we would need, Governor, through you, the Deputy Speaker, will need also his support to assist us to do what he requires from us.
The agreement of the Rama Nickel Project in Medang is outdated. This was highlighted on the floor of Parliament yesterday by Raiko's MP Peter Sapia. Sapia called on the state to review the agreement and also to ensure the developer works with the Medang provincial government and Raiko's district to deliver services to the people.
Asking Blomi, first one, this la MOA expert pinis. Now, one time by government by reviewing this la MOA blow Rama Nickel mining. Number one. Number two, plenty people blow mix in Bagarab long, Solwara. So last month, one blow boat capside, Amas plow pini man Mary, or Luslo Solwara, or Woklo pining body yet. Now, road them stop, but why na government no look sawe, company no look sawe na building this la road igol or Rama Nickel, side of station. So me ask him, good la Prime Minister blame me, government blame now he got some plan long building this la Raigos highway igol or side of station or no got.
If the review is outstanding, then we'll conduct a review ASAP. It's timely that those mining projects that has review clause in that, those reviews be activated. So I think the mining minister was informing me last night, in fact, when we were in discussion on Pogo and other matters, that this review will take place as well as a current to mine review. And some of these reviews that is outstanding. So in our budget, we've putting some money for the mining department to undertake those reviews, and we give him the assurance along people belong Sidor, people belong Medang. I beg your pardon, Raikos na Medang, and including Sidor station, that this review will take place. Low road along Raikos this year been got 5 million kin allocation. Last year too been got 5 million kin allocation. Let me check him from one advice mix him long treasury in the works. I think this la money some law spend him long side long wasun sialum come back law side law Raikos. And I think you talked to one time like stop. Hopefully we could get this road connected in the next 2-3 years going forward. And let me check him what happened along this allocation Sabusemi companies law district of the works. Then this money you can consume that continue on walk along Lincoln along side of station.
Now, MP Kennedy Wenger has asked the government to include ward councillors on the payroll system. Wenger said this government officers have been neglected for too long despite their hard work at the community level. Wenger directed his questions to the minister responsible, Pila Nenengi.
Now, Trangle stop long. Display, Allah won't say no now. Mr. Minister, you can kiss him this plan not, now put him all on fortnight or noga, 26 fortnight, yeah? We'll cancel must kiss him. Suppose you, this line no come up on fortnight, blow one him, but noga. Cancel must kiss him fortnight. So also you me, Mary blow me, want you make alone, no cat, no go, yeah, must come up, cancel. Cancel China. Council lead come up, Edman Blong place now. Show silly the two now, also calling big blue work. You know, blow allowance. Able fortnight here. Minister, me to talk so you put him more on fortnight.
Treasury, na finance, na planning. NEC direct him more long, me work one time long. Come up him more long, put him go long. Let's go payroll system long, all public servants now. Me play stop long and this payroll must coincide. So how much people pay him depends on how much money people got. That's all. By only kiss him 300 kina or 250 or fortnightly by call payroll next year. One time this la me like take him chance long talk thank you long all councillors long. make him important work inside the community. Only come up doctor boy, only come up counselor, only come up a lawyer, you only come up all grass something that's all. Only no sabe. You mean no say look at them all. So I'm good question also me must look at them all counselor. Me got personal experience also me beginning block council, Papa it's saving counselor a long time. Now I'm work also working long and me sabe also me like talking all counselors also good work you work him. Me like talk thank you long take him chance long. Thank you long you all counselors work him this work. So me plan no lose him thinking by me plan I put him no payroll next year.
You're watching National EMTV News. We'll have more stories after these messages. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. East New Britain Governor Nakikus Konga wants the state to clearly indicate the purpose of each of the individuals that attended the COP26 Leaders Summit in Glasgow. Governor Konga said the trip is costly under taxpayer sweat. He demanded the Prime Minister to outline why PNG had to send a large delegation.
Your trip has incited our people.
The issue has been raised for the second time on the floor of Parliament. This time, the East New Britain governor questioned the government. He says the trip has many questions remain unanswered.
Can the Prime Minister provide a list of all who have travelled on taxpayers' money to this conference and what their specific tasks were? Question 2. Can there separate individual reports on what they have gained be annexed to that from the special envoy?
Outlining his response, the Prime Minister explained why PNG had to attend. He said compared to the 5 million kina spent on the trip, the world is moving towards green revolution while cutting down on emissions. PM Marape said the Glasgow trip is vital for Papua New Guinea.
They didn't receive any special allowance. They're fair to go, and allowances to go and come back. And so the exact amount, I don't know, the minister in his ministerial statement will deliver to this house later on. And through that, we will give a full report. As the governor asked on what is the report, we'll give a full report. Display no one event where the legal event lo site so the entire global leaders convened in Glasgow to discuss on at this point in time as we speak the most sensitive contemporary issue along planet Earth outside of COVID-19 and economy.
Jack Lapava Jr., National EMTV News.
After 46 years of independence, the Office of the Public Solicitor finally has an act. Public Solicitor Leslie Mamu said it is a historic occasion for the team and everyone in the law and justice sector.
5 of the Constitution by providing for the public.
Known as the Public Solicitor Act 2021, it differentiates the roles and administrative functions of the Public Solicitor's Office as a constitutional office.
Since the inception of our Constitution in 1975, and while as this sister organization, the Public Prosecutor Office, enjoys the Public Prosecutor's Office and Functions Act passed in 1977, under the same section, 117 subsection 6 of the Constitution, the Public Solicitor remains without enabling law to advance his office administratively.
Every institution needs a legislation by Parliament to help administer the office in terms of human resource, in terms of finance, in terms of the function itself that is given. For this instance, the Constitution that gives constitutional function. But we do not have that support in legislation that enables the Public Solicitor and his team to administer that constitutional mandate, which is to provide legal aid. 46 years counting. Yesterday was a historic occasion for this office, for the Public Solicitor and his employees, to finally have intervention by Parliament in passing this important legislation.
So what is the role of the Public Solicitor?
Office of the Public Solicitor is specifically established by the Constitution. Its mandate or function is to help our ordinary people when they are faced with disputes they need to go to court, the public solicitor is mandated to provide legal aid, legal assistance, legal advice, drafting documents.
While the Public Solicitor Bill 2021 was welcomed and passed 80 votes to nil, member for Esa Ala, Davis Stephen, asked that the office must produce annual reports, adding the report is the only avenue the government will know about the challenges of the office.
What has been missing over the years and something that the Minister for Justice will have to impose upon the Public Solicitor's Office and the Honourable Prime Minister is for annual reports. These are constitutional offices that must provide annual report on their activities. There's a reporting condition in our Constitution. And I remember when I was in that seat, I had insisted that all constitutional office holders present before this Honourable House their reporting. In that report, they will outline the kind of service they are offering, how many of our people they are servicing, and these difficulties that we are now faced with.
But it seems the member forgot to check the notice paper that day.
The requirement to submit annual reports to Parliament is a constitutional requirement under the organic law. And so we are required by the organic law to provide those reports to Parliament. The report basically is on the operation, how the function is been dispensed, the resources that are given by Parliament, government, as well as recommendations that must be made to Parliament. So that's basically two aspects of the report that goes to Parliament. The Public Solicitor's Office has thus far submitted to the Governor-General and eventual submissions to Parliament the reports, annual reports of 2017, 2018, 2019 and 2020. We are in the process of putting together the report of 2021, and so we are in full compliance with this aspect of the requirement.
The Public Solicitor thanks his team and all government agencies that played a part in the successful passing of the Act. Shamin Poreambeb, National EMTV News.
The Papua New Guinea government will partner with the European Union to carry out a good governance program. The partnership will be implemented by the Department of Justice and Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary to support the Independent Commission Against Corruption.
A 5-year implementation program will be carried out by the Department of Justice and Attorney General and the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary in support towards the Independent Commission Against Corruption. The project, funded by the European Union, will help the Project Steering Committee
to review the status of an existing EU-funded program under PNG EU Partnership. It's a 160 million kina program focused on good governance that we were able to secure from the EU. And mind you, this is not lending money, this is grant money. And under the partnership of DJAG, the leadership of the Attorney General, Dr. Ekwa, as well as the Commissioner of Police, through the also Minister of Police.
The Partnership for Good Governance program is vital as it will focus on specific objectives to improve integrity, fight against corruption, and crime prevention. The funding will also be used to improve the functioning of village court system by investing in equipment and infrastructure.
It'll be an extremely important program because it touches everyday Papua Guineans, and that is in addressing police corruption, improving how police deal with corruption within the police force, ensuring they provide their service to protect the people, and as well as in terms of governance and corruption within village courts and overall corruption around the country by assisting ICAC.
In a meeting held early this morning, the committee had a review on where the program stands.
All these key stakeholders from National Planning, DJAG, Policing RPNGC, ICAC, the EU, as well. It was co-chaired between myself and the acting ambassador for the EU, Dr. Zora, to review where the program is and also adopt a number of terms of references, look at the specific activities and track where things are, and also issues where we are facing issues to understand where those issues or blockages are and have those addressed.
Within the program, a specific PNG anti-corruption project will be supported by the United Nations using funds made available by the European Union. Podivai National EMTV News.
The United Kingdom emergency medical team who have arrived in PNG last month are conducting a series of workshops and trainings for health workers in the Highlands region. The trainings are held in Mount Hagen on information regarding COVID-19 and vaccination and for health promoters to give the correct information. The UK EMT team are in PNG in response to an urgent appeal for international assistance with COVID-19.
Clinicians and non-clinicians from the provincial health authorities in the Highlands region have been attending a series of trainings and workshops by the UK medical team. Yesterday's training has involved health promotion teams on information regarding COVID-19 and vaccination and its benefits, and to making sure they promote correct information and stop misinformation.
What we have done is try to give them the information that we feel they require to make an informed choice on taking the vaccine, and we're hoping that with our efforts that people will have the right information and can make the decision for themselves.
They are also hoping to impart capacity building and help doctors and nurses cope with the surge of COVID-19 with high standard of care. Dr. Darren Dewhurst from the UK EMT said the trainings have helped local staff improve the standard of care, and so far they've seen improvements at Mount Hagen General Hospital and the management of COVID patients.
Local medical and nursing staff cope with that surge. We are confident that they are more prepared and that they will be able to deliver a high standard of care for the patients within the Western Highland Province.
The team have been sent to Western Highlands Province as it was one of the worst affected in the wave of COVID-19 pandemic recently. The UK team understood the reluctance of the public in getting vaccinated and would like to share their knowledge and understanding of the vaccines for the benefit of all.
Here you're giving the people the choice to choose between J&J, AstraZeneca and Sinopharm. And all these vaccines are traditional vaccines. They're nothing related to RNA or other kind of vaccine. So it's like other routine vaccines that they can take to protect themselves and their communities. When I'm saying protecting themselves and their communities, I'm saying that you cannot just be protected if you only vaccinate yourself, one person or two persons. We need the majority of people to be vaccinated in order to protect the dissemination of the virus.
After 4 months of providing their free service to the people of Western Highlands and the Highlands region, some will leave next Monday, while the rest will leave late December. Vasanatha Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
Director of Public Health Dr. Martin Damon says for the last 2 weeks the hospital had run out of testing kits and was unable to test patients. Dr. Damon made the remarks during the presentation of 74 boxes of RDTs by the New Britain Palm Oil Foundation to Medang Provincial Health Authority this morning.
These 2 boxes contain 74 COVID-19 rapid diagnostic tests. Each box contains 25 test kits. That means 1,850 RDTs were donated to the Medang Provincial Hospital from the New Britain Palm Oil Foundation. Dr. Diamond says the test kits will assist Medang PHA for at least 3 to 6 months.
What we receive from the normal supply system, normally sometimes when there is not enough, we get only 2 or 3 boxes of 50 test kits, and that will last only like 2-3 weeks, and that's not enough, but this is huge.
Director of Curative Health Dr. Sammy Thomas explains as healthcare workers, it is vital that all patients are tested to know their COVID-19 status. He explains the Madang Provincial Hospital is a major training hospital for nursing and clinician students, and it is paramount that the health of its officers is also protected.
It's a major training institution. We cannot shut the hospital. We shut it, we compromise the training. So thank you, NPOL. This will go a long way. I can assure you, the patient wants to go on table. It's a requirement for them to get COVID test before they go on table for surgery.
The New Britain Palm Oil Foundation, as part of its good corporate citizenship and responsibility, has been supporting a number of PHAs around the country, including Madang and Morobe. Country Manager Robert Nilkares says the 74 RDTs can assist Madang PH's case management and COVID case production.
Prevention and knowing your status in terms of the infection rate is the best way to manage the virus.
This is the second time the New Britain Palm Oil Foundation has donated RDTs to assist Madang PHA. In April, the company presented the test kits that were purchased in Australia at the cost of 340,000 kina that was supplied to 7 PHA around the country.
I think next year is another year, and we will see how the COVID cases are, and you can be guaranteed, you can count on New Britain Palm Oil to come back and to support you.
2 weeks ago, the company, in partnership with the St. John Ambulance, had also donated rapid test kits and a new ambulance to the Chimbu Provincial Health Authority. A community-based organization, Kumara Foundation, will be doing its health outreach program in the lower Bundi areas to address malaria and COVID-19. During this program, the foundation will be using the COVID-19 RDTs to test suspect COVID-19 patients.
We were privileged to have 50 rapid test kits being donated to Chimbu Provincial Health Authority through New Britain Palm Oil Foundation, along with the PPEs and some of the standard doses to address COVID-19 patients. So,
PHA CEO Fidelis Moimpa also acknowledged the New Britain Palm Oil Foundation and the support given to Madang PHA.
We've been having a good partnership. We have a good relationship with the Rama Nickel Palm Oil Limited, and that's the way forward for us in Madang. Without partners, we cannot do it alone.
Martha Lewis, National EMTV News, Madang.
And now looking at the NASFund market report, the kina opened unchanged at $0.2850 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina is buying $0.2775 $0.3823 Australian dollars, $0.4158 New Zealand dollars, and 31.42 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading higher, coffee closed higher, cocoa closed lower, and copra closed higher. Crude oil is trading lower, palm oil closed lower, and copper closed higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed lower, the ASX 200 is trading lower, and the All Ordinaries is trading lower. National EMTV News continues with more stories after these short messages. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. Former Provincial Administrator for Central Province, Raga, has been cleared of criminal charges by a court decision made this week.
The former Central Provincial Administrator, Raga, is happy with the decision of the Waigani District Court, which has cleared him of 4 charges, which were abuse of office, false pretense, conspiracy to defraud and misappropriation of the Criminal Code Act 1974.
Yes, I was accused of misappropriating 34 plus million kina, which was purported for the IGG funds in the LNG affected area, villages, 4 impacted villages, that's Porabara, Boera, Papa and Lealea. And the reason why I called for this media conference is to tell everybody that the court has cleared me of 4 charges.
Mr. Raga says he was first suspended from office and charged in the year 2017 when a new governor for Central Province was elected into office and an acting provincial administrator was appointed. He was later cleared of the charges and then in 2019 was suspended again in relation to allegations of abuse of office, false pretense, conspiracy to defraud and misappropriation. These have been cleared by the court decision, but his term has also expired as a provincial administrator.
2017, I was accused of abuse of office. And I was cleared and discharged in 2017 by the same governor, Robert Agarobe. And after that case was discharged, I was still working as a provincial administrator. And then it wasn't satisfied, so I decided to remove me as the provincial administrator.
Mr. Raga's accusers alleged him of misappropriating over 34 million kina in PNG LNG project IDG funds for implementation in the affected villages. Mr. Raga says he is delighted that the negative reputation the allegations have placed on him, his family and home community have now been cleared by the court decision.
I've been, blacklisted and called names or been seen as a scapegoat, a person who is untrustworthy and my public, moving around has been restricted, and not so much of that, but that also affected my own family and the people who have been following me very closely, and my family and my village people, because my village Gamoga has been mentioned as the one place where I come from.
Dennis Orere, National EMTV News.
Unrest in Honiara, Solomon Islands continues as the people protest demanding Prime Minister Manasseh Sogavare to resign following a request from PM Sogavare to Prime Minister James Marape. A contingent of 20 policemen and 15 correctional service personnel were deployed this morning to assist in restoring public order and normalcy in Honiara. The PM reportedly blames foreign interference over his government's decision to switch diplomatic alliances from Taiwan to Beijing for the protests, arson and looting. Among the buildings that were burnt down is PNG's Bank South Pacific. Meanwhile, Police Commissioner David Manning will be holding a press conference this evening regarding this deployment. Australia is sending Defence Force troops to the Solomon Islands amidst rioting.
The capital, Honiara, has been racked with unrest in recent days. Police using tear gas and rubber bullets to disperse crowds demanding the resignation of their Prime Minister. Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison announcing around 116 personnel would be deployed, some leaving immediately.
Purpose here is to provide stability and security to enable the normal constitutional processes within the Solomon Islands.
You're watching National EMTV News. Up next, some sporting updates in Shukai Sports. Don't go away.
Shukai Sports.
Welcome to Shukai Sports. Since the cancellation and postponement of a number of international and domestic tournaments and competitions, Rugby Union has been in a state of limbo. The new executives in charge of sport in the country want to put the code on the right track again.
Rugby Union has to become a sport that is easily accessible to the wider community across the country. If the code is to thrive and grow, the PNG Rugby Football Union must provide local clubs and match officials with incentives to encourage their participation.
We plan to declassify rugby. Rugby must not be a game for a privileged few. It's a game for everyone. And so we want to take it to everyone in PNG. If the ball is not kicked in Manus, If the rugby ball is not kicked in Tari or in Wanimo, then we would have failed our job. We want the rugby ball to be kicked in every province in Papua New Guinea.
The potential of rugby union to become one of the country's leading sporting codes has long been left unrealized, given the obvious player talent that can be seen in other sports.
When we bring the 4 member unions in the Pacific for test matches, they bring the 15s, the 7s, both men and women. So we give opportunity to our men and our women too.
Huxley Lovai, Chukai Sports.
And that ends Chukai Sports. The weather details coming up next.
Chukai Sports. Chukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
I'll look at the weather forecast for tonight in the southern region only. Partly cloudy with a few showers and possible thunderstorms in Port Moresby, and mostly cloudy with evening showers possible in Popondetta.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
And that's been the news, sport and weather for Friday, 26th November 2021. Until next time, pleasant viewing, be safe and good night.